Well, I'm guessing if he's talking and I can't hear him, that he can't hear me. Okay, I was just testing to see if my audio thing was going or whatever. I guess they're not going to pass me the ball, which I guess is okay. I'll just walk around and talk to you guys here on Twitch, because obviously they're more interested. Well, that happened. But anyways, continuing to talk about some NBA players that I've liked and enjoyed watching. Um, that's wide open. But just thinking about a couple of different teams. I like that Devin Booker's finally got some guys that around him that he can get his percentages where they should have been for a couple of years. Finally feels like he's winning some games now with the Phoenix Suns. But anyways, what? If I could get some comments of maybe some other players that maybe you guys like if you're watching this, because like just thinking of like what your guys' perspective. Now, as I said earlier about like how my favorite team had been the Warriors, and being not a fan of the Kevin Durant signing. Some other things that some other things like I mean, it's great to see Kevin Durant's game and stuff. Like that style of play is pretty great. But it just didn't work with the Warriors, and I didn't like that idea. They may have gone 2-0 in the 2-1 in the finals, but I wasn't necessarily a fan of having Durant on the floor with the Warriors, at least. But now that he's in Brooklyn, sitting out with his injury, I feel like I want to see him come back strong. I really do. I don't want to say anything about like how I don't want him to come back healthy. I want him to come back healthy. I just didn't think he fit on the Warriors and who they had on their team. As much as they had been such an all-star based team, it was, I think, too much. But anyways, so anyone who is watching this live, does anyone have any thoughts on like their favorite teams or different perspectives? Because I like to hear different perspectives just to see what's out there. What are people talking about? Another player I like, I can't believe it took me this long to think of it. Luka Doncic. Oh my goodness, I love his game and how he's played. I know he destroyed the Warriors, but I mean the Warriors are kind of destroyed within themselves right now. But I think the Warriors do have the chance to come back with a good team in the next 2-3 years. They're going to be another contending team, no matter who ends up on their roster. But just uh perspective on the game of basketball. Uh, I do have a YouTube video coming up soon. It's in the middle of its processing and that whole thing. But um um I did not play very well in this last game. If you were wondering, I was not really paying attention to the game. I was more focused on what I was talking about to Twitch. So if I played horrible in this game, don't you worry. Um I'm not even a good player in general in this game, but um talking about how the Mavs are right now, I think the Mavericks, um, they're going to need Luka and Porzingis to be successful. Now I know the health of Porzingis is not 100%, especially coming off a knee injury. Uh, but anyways, the going blank now, but like just thinking of how the playoffs look right now, teams with their chances of winning a title, and who doesn't, who does. Obviously, it's going to come down to when the games are played, when the moment is here. But how interesting would it be to have seen the Golden State Warriors with Steph, Clay, Draymond, KD? This was before the DeMarcus signing, the year before the Raptors made the finals. The last year that Cavs team did when they beat the Celtics in Game 7. How much more versus Jaylen Brown, Kyrie, no Gordon Hayward, just the young talent that Celtics team had. How interesting would the team led by how interesting would the 2017 NBA Finals had been? 2017. No, 2018. How interesting would the 2018 Finals, so the Warriors team before DeMarcus, that Warriors team, how interesting would that Finals series have went if it was against the Boston Celtics that year? No Kyrie, no Gordon Hayward. It was the young core that had nearly knocked off LeBron James in the conference finals. How interesting of a Finals series that would have been. But I just saw that comment in um but so just I like having different perspectives on the game of basketball. So like listing your favorite team, maybe your favorite player, or a couple of different players, maybe that are on different teams. Like for me, I can't pick a favorite team this year because there's so much talent that is spread throughout the entire league. Um so um um what is I see your ideas with the fouls. Like, what is a good idea with the fouls? Like, I know 2K has like had like different rule changes for different various things. Um, that like they had in 2K, they have the option when you're playing a game that when a player is fouled, they automatically give the a team 2 points, and they don't do free throws. They just give them the 2 points for the shooting foul and move on. Um, Blocking fouls, like they should change the value of how many free throws are given in a game. In the opinion with the no fouls, or I don't know if you saw the clip, but when someone heckled at no, James Harden when he had shot so many free throws in the game, and he said, "We're not here to see a free throw contest." James Harden replies by saying, "Nobody wants to see fouls either." So it's like the idea of fouls. Fouls in the game happen. Now, personally, for me, I don't get fouled very much, and I don't foul at players very much. So it's so I do agree with the stoppage in the game. The NBA has been trying to cut down on how long games are, and trying to keep the fluidity in the game, and trying to cut it down. And obviously, fouls are going to drag out the game so much longer. And then just the idea of I mean, they don't want fouls to be a strategy to win, like the hack a Shaq rule, fouling the worst free throw shooter on the team and just watch some player watch their free throw percentage go from here to here just because they're missing open free throws. They did change the timeout rule. Teams are no longer allowed to call back-to-back timeouts, or back-to-back-to-back, or whatever, however that is. But like they're not allowed to call multiple timeouts back-to-back-to-back. They could get a delay of game, or I forgot what the calling was on that. But yeah, thanks for these comments because that gives me something to talk about. But um, um, obviously teams want to save their timeouts more towards the end of the game, but obviously they've changed it to mandatory timeouts. I can't remember if it's every quarter or every half. They're required to use certain timeouts within that specific range, and so that's why, like, even in 2K, they take away some of your timeouts. Like, when you get down to the last couple minutes of the game, you only have, like, 2 or 3 timeouts left to use, even though you didn't use all 7 you had to start the game. So, like, they adjusted the rules on timeouts. They're still looking for different ideas with timeouts and how to cut down on the game. Like, they have horns that go off as a warning if players are not on the floor by the time the second horn goes off, they get a delay of game. There's different repercussions. They're trying to keep the game condensed into a small right now they've gotten them about like 3 hours long. They're trying to get it down because the game's 48 minutes. But I mean, timeouts, fouls are gonna keep. Oh, me? I mean, I'm only 5'7". I can't dunk. But and I have no vertical. I have no vertical leap whatsoever. But I'm also have I dunked before? Not on a 10-foot rim, that's for sure. I tore my ACL a couple of years ago, so I haven't gotten it fully healthy, and I can't trust it either. Like, I have no idea if it'll give out. Yeah, I agree. If you want to check out my YouTube channel, I have a series called the Evan Christopher series. Um, it's called Season 1 on the channel. My channel is Zane0, just like it is here. No underscores like on here, uh, but like my channel, it I haven't been consistent just recently, but I'm trying to get back because I just got a bunch of new things I can use. But yeah, the ACL injury, yeah, you're never the same after. Um, I tore my ACL back in 2016, and then I mean, it's easier if you went and watched the series I have on YouTube because that explains what I've done more. Um, how long ago was your injury? If Because if you're still having pain in jump shots, it must not be that long ago. Oh, 4 months. Yeah, mine was a couple of years ago, but um, see, like I had my ACL injury like 3 years ago now. I'm But like in that series, it talks about like what happened, like especially episode one. Episode one was very, very personal to me, and yeah, 4 months in. The doctors also told me when I had this happen, when they had to have surgery, that they said something about like certain age range is where this injury normally comes from. And they said the average age of the ACL tear is like 30 years older than I actually was at the time. Yeah, extending your yeah. I agree with you with the whole thing. Yeah, I'm trying to talk in my live stream, but my comments are down here. But um, um, yeah, yeah. But like me personally, I was 15. I was 15 years old when I tore mine 3 years ago. I'm only 18 now. Um, I was I was pull. Okay, so I can break down how my ACL injury happened. I won't go into detail like how everything like it. There was nothing graphic or anything. ACL tears. It's so weird because ACL tears. You don't necessarily um, with an ACL tear see anything graphic. Um, like it's so weird because you don't see the like a graphical thing like um um but I had torn mine. um yeah, cuz like I tore mine in high school. I tore mine at school in gym class. And personally, from what I experienced through it, I mean, I don't know where like cuz everyone tears it differently and how it happens. Like we saw Clay Thompson tore his in the NBA finals. Um uh yeah, I mean like that yeah, like I tore mine in October 2016. I had surgery on it in November. And once I had uh oh, if you're talking I just mentioned just a second ago. Clay Thompson. Uh he tore his in the NBA Finals just this last year. Um, but famous players. Another one is Derrick Rose. He's from Chicago. He played for the Bulls. Um, he tore his. That was. Um, but yeah, like thinking of different players and how they tore their ACLs. Like I tore mine. Okay, so like there was this. It was like it was in PE class. So we had taken like a paper pencil test, which it's kind of weird to have. Um. Um. So. Um. I we were playing like this 3v3 or something at the end of a PE class after everyone had finished a test that we were taking. So the teacher got basketballs out. There was only like 10 minutes left or whatever. So we started like a game at one end of the court. And there was this one possession where the other team had the ball and we were playing half court. But like the guy was open. So I went over to try to jump and block the shot, and when I jumped, I knew it was too late to block it. So I obviously continued the jump and just was going to land normally. And I did. I thought I did. But then a split second after landing, I landed, and then my right knee turns inward towards my left, and I turn and fall on my back. So like I couldn't, and it was the first time I had like a major injury. I didn't even know it. And so when I couldn't even get back up. Like my knee didn't feel anything. Like I didn't feel anything from like my like thigh all the way down. I don't remember, but if I could feel my foot or not, but like I couldn't like feel any like most of my leg. And so just the idea of the ACL tear, it's a killer. It 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 is a major injury to anyone who plays basketball. Obviously, there are some players who can maybe come back healthy when they've been able to get surgery. So like I know Derrick Rose had multiple injuries with his knees and ankles later on after that, and had a couple of them before the big ACL tear. Clay had no knee problems. There was nothing with his knee problems. He was a great defensive player. He was a great sharpshooter in the NBA. And all of a sudden he tears his ACL on a landing after dunking it. And then you have Zach LaVine, who is now back from an ACL injury. Ricky Rubio is back from an ACL injury. He had his ACL injury before he got to the NBA, but then Zach LaVine had his injury. I think it was against like the Detroit Pistons or something a while back. It was like a couple years ago. Now he's playing in Chicago. But yeah, ACL injuries are killers. I mean, I've personally experienced it. It was kind of interesting because, like, okay, so Derrick Rose, this was this funny little thing I thought was kind of funny. So Derrick Rose and I both are from Illinois, at least Illinois. All right, I'll catch you later. But feel free to check out the YouTube channel Zane Zero. I do have a series that's going. I'm gonna get another episode out soon. But in the meantime, as I can see, I've just been standing around on 2K, so I guess YouTubers don't want to watch me play anymore. Because I can't just. Okay, I'm gonna get out of the whole park real quick. But I don't know how often I'll get to do live streams on Twitch. whether it's just talking or maybe trying to do some gameplay or something. But Twitch will be a just chatting, I guess, for now. But I mean, I hope people enjoy this with just talking about different things, whether we're talking about ACL injury or just like talking in general. I think that's a great idea. I'm always gonna like pay attention to my chat. I always make sure I don't want to have my chat up on my phone because I'm like having my phone for me to look at. So then I have my chat down here and I'm able to look at it and talk to you guys. I think that's a great way to. Oh, whoops. Um, Give me just 1 second for YouTube so that YouTubers don't get bored if they finally notice that I'm. Wait, what am I doing? Okay, I hit the. I am so used to playing on the older 2K sometimes, but I'll just throw on a game for YouTubers to have as a background. But Twitch, you're stuck with looking at me. But I don't know how good that quality is though. You'll have to let me know. Um, um, I feel that personally, like, getting the chance to watch different players in their careers, um, so okay, so um, we're live here on Twitch and YouTube. I don't know if both can hear me. I think Twitch can because of comments. Um, but there's definitely some uh, okay. I was just seeing what the delays were on both of my. I'll have to pay attention to that too. But I want to thank for the comments. I mean, there's been a lot by the one. I didn't catch names. I kind of only see. Just created in August. Oh, nice. Oh, you. And then myself. Okay. Three. Wait, three. Oh. Okay. But I'm just looking at some of the features here on Twitch. I haven't been on Twitch very much, but just different YouTubers and Twitch streamers have different ways they try to get their views or trying to make sure that they get the attention that their fans are wanting to get to see content. So let me scroll down. There's definitely sorry, just 1 second. Okay. Let's see. There's always so much to talk about, but it's like hard to pick what could I talk about. Let's take a look at. Okay. But Oh, okay, so give me just a second. We'll have some numbers here in just a moment. So I do an NBA, what I call NBA projected. I did have a Instagram page for it at one point or two, or once upon a time. I decided to get rid of it. I renamed it, and it is now the Evan Christopher Instagram page. And so, but NBA projected is where I have entered in almost all the information of every NBA team's history and how they have been as an organization, each individually, and their success. And evening out their success doesn't seem like the Lakers and the Celtics are by far the best. Because then it would say, oh, they're going to have 50 and 50% each of winning the 2020 NBA title. That's not fair. And then the Warriors have like that little bit in there. Because obviously the Warriors are not a good team this year. They're not going to make the playoffs. The Lakers potentially, the Celtics potentially, obviously. But like you have the Clippers in here who are battling. You have the Heat who have a chance. The Sixers. Like there's so many different teams that have a chance. So then it's like, so it evens it out and makes it like where everyone starts, when the stats are all zeros, that they're all zeros. It's not like, oh, there's a little bit of an edge for all these teams who have won multiple championships over the course of their history. It's all also based on the year they started in the NBA. So there's also the bad years of every team. There's always years. And it bases it each game so it's evenly spread, and one game can affect the entire season and how other teams win and lose games. So let's say there was a game last night between, okay, like just tonight, the Blazers versus Mavericks game that the Mavericks won. The Mavericks won tonight's game, or well, now it's yesterday, but tonight's game with the Blazers Mavericks game. And Luka got his 35 with 8 threes. And he had 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Lillard had his 34. But, like, that game, like, in my projected thing that I have built, in that game can affect the Lakers. It can affect the Clippers. It can affect the Celtics. It can affect any team in the NBA. It can affect the Warriors. Where are the Warriors right now? So, like, the way this is set up, it affects, so like matchups later, matchups that had happened in the past. It all alters to make sure we know what team has the highest chances of being successful and where they could end up. I have not been able to get like the correct set of information to make sure that the playoff thing is correct. But right now with like only the regular season, once the regular season is over, I don't have any projected other than maybe title chances and just some small minor things then. But I see that I've got a new viewer watching, but so just different things with so just looking at like what we have available to us, like NBA projected, I try to update that every day. Obviously, if I get behind, it takes time to catch up to, because it's like every game has to be put in there a few times in different locations on it, and it's this big chart. So right now, so this does not so I have not updated it yet, so it does not include tonight's games. It doesn't include last night's games. So I only have up through Wednesday night's games. But it shows, if it would load, give it just 1 second while it loads this big amount of information. It's still loading. But like, there's obviously the Lakers and the Celtics may have a little bit bigger of a piece just because of their championship history. So, a lot of teams are in the. All teams that are in this are in the range of 6.3% to 12.6%. Because there's 12 teams in this chart. So if you were to break 12 teams evenly, that is less than 10%. So, give me a second. Let me figure out how much, if it were to be even, I can't even find things on my own phone. To be even, 8.3% per team, it would be even. But when teams have 12, when teams have 11, it cuts out 3% that each of the other teams could have had spread between them. So, it's about an 8.3 average if every team was the same percent. But every team is not, because some teams are winning more games. Some teams are losing more games. Some teams are have been contenders in the past, so they have championship history within the organization. So, just looking at it, are projected, we have Rockets 8.2, Raptors 7.8, Pacers 6.5, Nuggets are 6.3, 7.7 for the Mavericks, 12.6 for the Lakers, 8.2 for the 76ers, which is tied with the Rockets, 8% for the Bucks, 11.5 for the Celtics. I can't. 6.8 for the Clippers, 9.4 for the Heat, and 6.9 for the Utah Jazz. We are looking at let's see. I don't know if this thing wants to load. I don't know if this is going to load, but it's alright. We'll be able to get more live streams in the future. I think we're going to go ahead and end the live stream here. So we'll be back with some more talking about basketball here on Twitch in the near future. I think it's fun getting to talk about basketball. I don't think I got very much out of YouTube.